Bonjour, bonjour. Today we are investigating the artist Henri Matisse. Matisse was born in France in 1869 and died in 1954. He was predominantly a painter and it was often considered the father of modernism or father of modernistic painting. He was friends with people like Picasso, but the older he got, the more infirm he became and he was unable to paint. He lived in a wheelchair or his bed. So he decided that he wasn't going to give up on art. He changed the way he created. He painted individual pieces of paper with a paint called gouache, which is a flat color, dried them on the wall, and then drew and cut out these amazing forms and shapes. He simplified everything. He cut out forms. He was not concerned with depth. He was concerned with color, composition, which is balance of color, shape, and form. He considered his scissors to be like his paintbrush. So in the last 12 years, he created 200 works, cutout works. And some of these works were designs for things like stained glass windows or mosaic floors or even clothing. He had an assistant who helped pin his designs to the wall, and he could then move them around until he worked out how they should sit. Again, he was very concerned with composition. We often think about composition when we create our own works. How does it look on the page? Is it balanced? Today, we're going to investigate Matisse a little further, looking at some of his amazing works, and then we're going to describe what we're going to do with it and how we are going to take that on and create our own mini cutouts. Matisse was interested in an explosion of color and form. He simplified form, reducing complicated or complex shapes into basic shapes. Many of his shapes are considered organic shapes. An organic shape follows the rules of nature. Often placed organic shapes and geometric shapes like squares and rectangles close to each other for greater effect. This project falls in two parts, and part one we will complete today. Part one is where you are going to create 5 or 6 different color papers. You will use paint, either watercolor or acrylic, or if you don't have paint, you could use color pencils, pastels, or even colored markers. You will also need some A4 paper. I have covered my table with plastic to protect it. I put my papers on the wall to dry, just like Matisse did. I am creating some watercolor paper to show you what the watercolor paints will look like. There are a few different ways to go about cutting out shapes. You can draw your shape on the colored side with either a marker or pencil and then cut out. Or if you don't want to see your drawing, you can draw the shape on the back and cut it out that way. Remember to take extra care when you're using your scissors. You may want to ask an adult to help you. As you can see here on the left, I am basing my design on Matisse's 1952, the parakeet and the mermaid. You may also notice that I brought along a bath toy which looks a bit like seaweed. I copied some of its organic shapes. This is where I drew the shape on the back and cut it out so that you can't see the drawing on the front. I love playing with the form that is left behind and the form that you cut out, putting them together and seeing what design you can make. For us, this is going to be a 2-part process, going over 2 weeks. The first week and the first part will involve creating the painted paper. You're looking at 5 or 6 different colors of paper. You can use your watercolors. If you've got acrylics, that would work. If you don't have any of those, you can use pastels or markers, or even color pencils. The second, when all of that is dried and we've completed that this week, will be the cutout process next week. And we want to work together to do that. So look at our composition and our balance and making sure that our colors are working together beautifully. Au revoir.